would you do if you were defined by the worst thing you've ever done?
If this is happening to you, this is happening to so many other people.
And we ask people that all the time, and they sit back and they listen like, I never thought of that. And we say that's what people are looked at when they have a criminal background, when they have committed a crime.
And that is just a small part of a new film that explores life on the outside and the harsh reality many people face as they work to rebuild their lives. The movie, Success Beyond Prison Walls, is the work of two people, a man who spent more than a decade in prison for third-degree murder and a former Delaware state trooper turned criminal justice professor. And by the way, they're also now engaged. Joining me now is Dr. Demi Moore and Albert Pernsley III. Thank you both for joining us this morning, and congrats on your engagement.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us as well.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. First, to me, how do two people from two different life paths end up together?
You know, it was interesting because we actually had grown up in like 7 minutes from each other, never knew each other.
Wow.
And we have like the same group of friends, people that we knew growing up, but our paths had never crossed. And I think both of us had to go through our hardships to find each other, because that's exactly what happened. I was a Delaware state trooper for 10.5 years. Albert was in prison for 10.5 years. And right when he was getting released, I had gotten injured on the job. And then we ended up meeting at a gym. But had those two things not happened, I don't think our paths would have crossed.
And this is like very parallel to the messaging of this film, right? Like rehabilitation, not being defined by one moment in your life. Albert, this film for you, obviously very personal.
Yes.
How did you both come up with this concept?
Well, again, it's funny because when Demi and myself, got together, as we would share our stories and our upbringing and things of that nature, we actually grew up probably like a couple minutes away from each other. Our high schools used to be rivals. I went to Chester High School. She went to Chichester High School. And I was a football player. She was a cheerleader. And once we became closer and she understood who I was, I understood who she was, her background, things of that nature, she would always say, we need to make a documentary about ourselves. Like, we need to reach out to somebody, Netflix, something. Mm-hmm. And for me, being released for about 1.5 years, all I wanted to do was, get into the gyms and start my own gym and, just to get back into society. I used to always look at her and say, I'm not trying to do a documentary. What are you talking about? Like, get out of here. So to be honest, it was just something that she would speak about all the time. When we would watch other documentaries and things like that, she would always say, we need to be on here. Like, we have to. And I will be honest, she literally spoke it into existence.
Mm-hmm. Right, talking to the universe, right, asking
Yes.
for what you want. Demi, how are people reacting to this film? Like, what's the impact that you're hoping for, and are you guys getting it?
Wow. Well, we just publicly premiered it at Neumann University, and that's where I teach. And since then, I think we still have people that we have to reach out and thank for reaching out to us, for coming to the documentary. The biggest impact that we have seen, though, so far is just the community engagement and my students. My students have such a great relationship with both of us. And to see how they are now taking it out into the world and they are talking about it and they're sharing it. Because, sometimes college students aren't really like, okay, that's my professor. They're cool, but like not cool. And they're really like, I have to say, they have taken it and put it out to the world. And then our biggest hope is that now we can continue sharing this on so many other platforms, whether that's other high schools, colleges, police departments, with lawyers.
Yeah, what's your message to the people, Albert, who are in prison or working to rehabilitate themselves?
Oh man, my message it can be ongoing, to be completely honest. However, my message is for the people that are currently serving their time in prison. Mm-hmm. I like to always let them know, listen, the light is not cut off. It may be dimmed, right? But as long as you keep pushing forward, you will get that full bulb to click on. The people that are returning back into society, formerly incarcerated, I would tell you this. There are going to be some challenges, right? I always say there are challenges even if you don't have a criminal background. However, with the criminal background, you're going to face a lot of different challenges. Everything that you thought about while being incarcerated, you're going to have to push 30 times more harder in order to accomplish that goal. Whether it's starting a business, whether it's a career you want to get involved in, because they don't prepare us for the barriers that we're going to encounter once we're released. You know, like especially guys such as myself. I went in at 21 years old, was released at 32, never been in trouble a day in my life. So I never knew the barriers. All I figured and thought was, okay, I applied myself while I'm incarcerated to do what I want to do once my time is up. And it shouldn't be a problem. As long as I'm up on my skill, I'm honing in on my craft, there shouldn't be a problem. However, that was far from the truth when it comes to the doors that we had to first knock on, and then we had to actually not even kick them down. We had to build our own doors, to be honest.
That's great. You're talking about barriers and doors and kicking in doors. Yeah, I flash back to the shirt that I keep seeing in these pictures. The back of it says, "Where limits don't exist." And I guess that applies to the movie, but it also applies to you guys believing that you can make a movie. So we really appreciate your time here on the show, Dr. Demi Moore and Albert Pernsley III. Thank you both for talking with us this morning. Congrats again on the movie and your engagement.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. For more information about the movie Success Beyond Prison Walls, tap the NBC 10 app or head to NBC10.com/find it on 10.